The Dallas Mavericks just wrapped up a very impressive season after making the playoffs for the first time since 2016. The core of this team's success, as we all know, has been Luka Doncic and his otherworldly impact on the Mavericks. They lost in the first round of the playoffs to the championship-favored Clippers, but the Mavs kept it very competitive, lasting 6 games even with Porzingis missing half those games. I couldn't help but think, had they been healthy, this could have been a 7-game series. And had this went 7 games, the Mavs would have had a legit shot at upsetting the Clippers. This team was also very impressive in the regular season, leading the league with a historically great offensive rating. The Mavs were also the second best team in the league at controlling their turnovers, were 4th in rebounds per game, and 2nd in three-pointers. Defense is something this team can improve upon, as they were fairly average in that department, ranking 18th in defensive rating. I believe the Mavericks can build upon their impressive performance in the postseason and their promising regular season. In this video, we will discuss the Mavs' realistic outlook over the next 2 seasons, what their core pieces are going forward, their main trade assets, which players they can realistically target in free agency and in the trade market that can help them assemble a big 3 and in turn make them legit title contenders. We will also go over what will be the Mavs' biggest question mark and wild card that their success will depend on the next few seasons. But before we jump into it, if you enjoy this video, subscribe, hit the like button, and remember to turn on the bell notifications so I can keep getting that fresh content out to you. Also, check out the playlist in the description section on other teams' 2-year outlooks I find interesting. The core of this team, as we all know, is Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. 2 super talented young players on the same timeline, locked in on long-term deals. Luka legend in particular is so spectacular that I'm almost tempted to say that he will be a top 10 or 15 player all time, if not even greater than that, if he stays healthy and brings the Mavs to glory in his career. He is a generational talent who at only 21 years old is already arguably a top 5 player in the NBA. Top 10 without question. The scary part is that he isn't even close to hitting his prime yet. The sky is the limit for this kid, but even if this is his ceiling and he never gets any better, he will still be good enough to win multiple MVPs at some point in his career so long as his team is a top 2 seed. That's how good he is. Doncic has an amazing all-around game. He has been blessed with great size at 6'7" and 230 pounds, amazing control of the game with his high IQ, consistently making the right plays on a dime, is skilled enough on offense to put crazy pressure on defenses, and is great at elevating his teammates with his elite passing. His partner in crime, Kristaps Porzingis, now in his 5th year, has really turned it around for the team after struggling to start the season. He can post up, take an opponent outside of the perimeter and hit 3-pointers, dribble and drive to the hole, and is a good defensive presence for the team. Porzingis had many dominant stretches in the season, with a 13-game stretch around All-Star break, when he averaged 26.2 points and 10 rebounds per game, and for the season he managed 20.4 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. If he can stay healthy, he will still have a lot of room to grow, as he is only now starting to enter his prime as a 25-year-old. Now, when it comes to their future assets that they can use to improve their team, if Tim Hardaway Jr. opts into his $19 million contract, he will be a very solid trade chip, as he is an above-average player in the middle of his prime and will be on an expiring contract. They also have very solid pieces in Dorian Finney-Smith, Seth Curry, Maxi Kleber, Jalen Brunson, Dwight Powell, Delon Wright, and Boban Marjanovic. All solid trade chips, or players they can keep around Doncic and Porzingis going forward. When it comes to the draft, the Mavs have not shied away from trading away their picks to improve their team, and it's really paid off. The consequence of this is that they have a hard time trading any more picks until roughly 2025 or 2026 because of the Stapien rule, which only allows teams to trade their first-round picks every other year. The Mavs traded multiple picks to trade up to select Luka Doncic and to trade for Porzingis. They do have this year's 18th pick and the 31st pick in the draft. Hopefully they can bring in a nice prospect with that pick. The Mavericks rebuild has been expedited, seeing as how Luka legend has become an MVP type of player in just 1 season. The Mavs front office will try and capitalize on that in the next 2 years of team building, and will do everything they can to bring in a third all-star type of player in an attempt to construct a fresh Big 3 in Dallas. They can target a great player who will improve their league average defense and bring in a player that will essentially have the Mavs double down on their historic offense. I believe that they can do this in free agency, considering they will have max cap space in the summer of 2021 and also through the trade market. I believe a realistic trade target the Mavs can go after is Buddy Hield, as his relationship with the Kings has reportedly been deteriorating this past season. Making this move essentially will be doubling down on their offense. I think Luka Doncic needs more consistent help around him and a true third option that can hit even more three-point shots. It will also just be super valuable for the Mavs to have that third guy that can get them buckets down the stretch. I think Buddy Hield has proven he can do that consistently. He has averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists the past 2 seasons, and has been shooting 41% from 3 on close to 7 attempts per game over the course of his 4-year career. Now granted, Buddy Hield won't help them much on the defensive side, as that is a legit weakness to his game. But he would be a clean fit next to Doncic and will give their historic offense an even greater boost. Buddy Hield would do wonders spacing the floor for the Mavs, as he is legitimately considered one of the top 3 or 4 shooters from long range in the NBA. Also, a very underrated attribute to Buddy Hield is the fact that he rarely misses any games. The guy is super durable. Hield also just last season signed a very reasonable 4-year contract extension that kicks in next season. He will make $24.5 million next year, but the contract is structured in such a way that his salary decreases every season, which will give the Mavs some flexibility down the road. Buddy Hield can be a borderline all-star in his own right when in the right situation, and will make the Mavs even more dangerous. The Mavericks can offer the Kings a package of Tim Hardaway Jr. if he opts into his contract, and a 2025 first-round draft pick. The Mavs can also throw in a few second-round picks to sweeten the deal if they have to. I think this is an offer the Kings will seriously consider. As impressive as Tim Hardaway Jr. was for the Mavs, he is 2 years older, and his career efficiency, production, and his durability is simply not on the level of Buddy Hield's. But Hardaway can give the Kings a rough approximation of what Hield did for the Kings, and they will get picks that they can use to help them continue their rebuild. Now, this trade will make it more difficult for the Mavs to go after big fish in 2021 free agency, but I don't think it will be very hard for them to find suitors for DeLon Wright and, say, Dwight Powell, who are both valuable contributors in the league on very attractive contracts. In addition to that, the Mavs can simply decline extending Justin Jackson his $7 million qualifying offer. This would clear enough cap space for them to go after elite free agents in 2021. Whether or not they manage to successfully acquire Buddy Hield, they will be major players in 2021 free agency, when they will have max cap space to bring in an all-star in a stacked free agency class. Now, I know many of you will circle Giannis Antetokounmpo's name, and by all means the Mavs should make a concerted effort to try and acquire him, because it's not a sure thing by any means that he will return to the Bucks. Do I think it's realistic? No, because I don't believe the Mavs will be frontrunners. I believe ultimately it will be between the Bucks, Raptors, and the Heat who will have the best shot at the Greek Freak. Do I think there's at least a slim chance? Sure. And that is why I believe that Donnie Nelson and Mark Cuban will do everything they can to woo him into joining a fellow MVP type player in Luka Doncic. I do think it will be at the very least an intriguing proposition for Giannis, seeing as how they will be a historically great team if he joins Luka in Dallas. Now, if we move down the pool of other free agents, Victor Oladipo is a realistic option, and certainly can be had, and will intrigue the Mavs. But unless he has a strong bounce-back season and proves he's the all-NBA type of talent from before his injury, and manages to stay on the court for the majority of games next year, I think the Mavs should resist acquiring him in free agency. It's just too risky in my opinion. Instead, the player I believe that they should go for and likely will pursue is Rudy Gobert. Acquiring Gobert, who will be in the middle of his prime, will instantly catapult the Mavs into title contention and will transform the team's defense from middle of the road to elite, as Gobert is one of the best defenders in the league. He is an elite rim protector, rebounder, and will become the ideal role man for Luka. In addition to that, Porzingis will be a solid fit next to him, as he can space the floor while helping Gobert make the Mavs defense even more intimidating, with 2 players over 7 feet tall playing at the same time without clogging the paint. Both of these guys have great instincts on the defensive side. It will make for a very interesting team that will strike fear in opposing offenses. The only problem that I can see is that Porzingis may need to make that sacrifice and play more minutes at the 4 where he is less effective. The Mavericks will also need to balance which of them will be the primary role man, which I'm sure Rick Carlisle can figure out. I honestly believe this will be a legit big three in the Western Conference. In this realistic scenario, the Mavericks will be able to add to their historic offense by adding Buddy Hield, and will improve upon their league average defense by bringing in a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year center in the middle of his prime in Rudy Gobert. This will be a more balanced and elite team that will be a surefire contender in the NBA if healthy. But regardless of the moves the Mavs make in the next 2 seasons, I believe a majority of their success will lie on Porzingis' health. He has had a string of injuries throughout his career, and durability has not been something he has enjoyed. He missed 20 months of basketball after tearing his ACL before suiting up for the Mavs, and has now torn his meniscus, though it is on the opposite knee of his ACL surgery. These injuries really puts his long-term health in question. The Mavs are going to need him healthy, especially in future postseasons, if they want a chance at winning the championship. Hopefully, they will be able to figure out a way to keep him healthy for the important games so we can see what this team will be capable of. Either way, the Mavs have a very bright future, and I am sure that we're going to see even more magical moments from Luka legend going forward. What do you guys think? Who do you believe the Mavs can realistically acquire in trades or free agency? Do you see this team winning a championship in the next 2 seasons? Let me know in the comments section. And once again, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, hit the like button, and remember to turn on the bell notifications. Also check out the playlist in the description section to other teams' 2-year outlooks I find interesting. Till the next one, guys, I'm out.